The rumors were 100% true. Absolutely true. They nailed it. There's going to be a major Nintendo Direct this Friday on the unusual day of Friday, September 12th, 2025. And it is always good to keep your expectations in check. You should always hype responsibly. However, it is hard for me not to believe that this is going to be a pretty darn big Direct. We did not even get a Nintendo Direct in June. We've only had one Direct this year, and that was before the Switch 2 even launched. Do I need to remind you that we are still in year one of the Switch 2's life? This is going to be the first major Direct, essentially, of the Switch 2 generation. And of course, we know basically nothing about what's coming next year. We know a couple of Switch 1 games that are coming next year, but they have not told us anything about 2026 major Switch 2 games. We know that they're working on stuff. We know they're probably working on a lot of stuff. You know, things slowed down a little bit at the end of the Switch 1 generation. There's that rumor that they even delayed the Switch 2 launch because they were still working on some games, so that would give them just even more time to be working on stuff. We have every reason to believe that it's gonna be a pretty good Direct. Now, we're not going to get reveals for everything coming in 2026. Of course not. You know, there may be a February Direct in 2026 or a June one, and either of those could reveal new things for 2026. So it's not going to be everything, but I think it is safe to assume there's going to be at least one big game. But we'll get to that in a bit here. I will say, okay, also, it's an hour, by the way. Did you know that? It's an hour. Whenever we see that there's going to be a Direct that's like 45 minutes, it's like, whoa, oh, we're rubbing our hands together. This is going to be a good one. But an hour. And I'm sure, you know, like, okay, a lot of that is kind of because they're sort of advertising for two systems now. You know, there's going to be Switch 1 stuff for a bit. So that may be inflating a little bit. But I mean, come on, still. Like... It's an hour. It's a September Direct. The September Directs, those are always the best ones, aren't they? And it's an hour. Okay, but let's get to it. What can we expect to see at this Nintendo Direct? And yes, we will try to stay realistic here. Is it possible that we will see new things for this year? I do pretty firmly believe that it is too late for them to reveal something big for this year. Like, for the longest time, I thought that there was some like mysterious holiday title they hadn't revealed yet, but September is way too late for like a major game. There could be smaller stuff though, and it is basically a guarantee that we're gonna get some Mario anniversary stuff. It's just time. They're definitely going to talk about it. I thought it was weird that they waited this long, but I don't know, maybe it's not that weird. They just wanted to wait until right before the actual anniversary. We have all these other rumors, there's like a placeholder social media account that's been created, and the same thing happened before the 35th anniversary, yada, 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 whatever. Like, there's going to be Mario 40th anniversary stuff. And so, I mean, yeah, some like re-release, some like anniversary thing. I think that makes perfect sense for this here Direct. We don't know exactly what it's going to be. There was that rumor about a new Super Mario Brothers collection. The rumor itself was not very solid. It was not really coming from a very solid source, but at the same time, I don't know what else they would do. Like there really isn't another like kind of equivalent of like what they did with the 3D All-Stars collection, just like another collection of games that could kind of stick together. Yeah, it just makes sense. Those games are ripe for re-release. They've already done loads of collections for the like classic titles. They've been re-released a million times. So yeah, I don't know. It makes sense. Just some sort of new Super Mario Brothers related thing. And this is of course assuming that they do want to do some kind of re-release. I don't know. It is the perfect kind of anniversary thing. Is it possible that they could just like bring back 3D All-Stars? They did it like they sold it temporarily. Could that be because they thought, yeah, but like we'll bring it back next anniversary? Like it's possible. Could they give it some sort of re-release for Switch 2? A Switch 2 edition or something with like even better performance. I don't know. I mean, they could also just do like a performance, like a free performance patch just to make them run at 4K or whatever. I mean, I'd be pretty happy with that. Could there be, you know, there's always been this idea of adding Mario Galaxy 2 to it. Would they like do a Switch 2 edition that has Galaxy 2? So you have to like have it on Switch 2? I don't know. They wouldn't really have an easy time justifying that. So I think that's probably not likely, but I also don't think they're gonna bring the whole thing back just so we can have Galaxy 2 on Switch 1. So I don't know, it's technically possible they could bring it back and maybe they could add to it. I mean, I would certainly like that. I'd like to play Galaxy 2 in 4K. So yeah, as far as re-releases go, I really cannot be sure. You know, something that they have not done yet that still totally could happen is they haven't really gone like the full remake route yet. You know, like the idea of just completely remaking Super Mario 64. I don't know if that's something they'll ever do. But if they do ever do it, then yeah, I don't know. That seems like the kind of thing that they could reveal at a, you know, at an anniversary flavored direct like this, especially if, because like DK coming out this year means that like I feel like it's almost certain we're not going to get a 3D Mario anytime soon. But something like a remake of 64 or some other kind of remake, I like that could totally work. Some other thing, it's kind of new, but it's kind of old, would make sense to me. But that's a bit of a shot in the dark. And you know, there are gonna be other like just random little products and things, not the sort of thing I don't generally care about, you know, your Game & Watch stuff. Maybe there could be another like fun online like NSO exclusive sort of thing like Mario 35, or they could bring back Mario 35. Again, if you're releasing these things temporarily, okay, you could bring them back sometimes though, right? Like, right? It's an anniversary, or like a major anniversary year again. Just bring it back. Just do it again. Mario 40, there you go. Now there's 40 players. But I do have one thing that I am not quite willing to bet money on, but I'm close. I'm like pretty darn close. I am pretty ding-dang certain that this Direct is where they are going to reveal Super Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 Edition. You may remember, if you watched the video that I did on just kind of outlining all of the possible Switch 2 editions that I thought would happen throughout the life of the Switch 2, Mario Wonder was at the absolute tippy top of the list. Games that I'm like basically sure are gonna get Switch 2 editions with new content. It's just absolutely ripe for it. It only came out a couple years ago. It didn't end up getting any major DLC, and yet there's so much that you could do with it creatively. It hasn't gotten a free upgrade patch like basically all of the other Mario games, at least all like the major ones. So like, no, it's totally getting a Switch 2 edition, and what better time to reveal it than the September Direct that's all about Mario's 40th anniversary. I'm pretty much sure that we're gonna get that reveal. So that's cool. I can't wait for that. Love that game. Would love to play new content and stuff and higher resolution and all that. I will also say though that yes, more performance patches for other, I mean, you know, there are other Mario games that have not had them yet. I've got my eyes on Thousand Year Door, naturally. I think if you get that game running at a higher resolution and a 60 FPS frame rate, it's going to look crazy gorgeous. So that'd be really nice too. That'd be another just random little anniversary bone to throw us. And you know what else seems pretty darn likely? You know what's coming out next year? Actually, like not even that far into the year, like April or May or something. It's the next Mario movie. Yeah, we're getting pretty darn close. We're getting like up to like the half a year mark before the next Mario movie comes out. So yeah, like a trailer, a teaser, maybe even like another awesome cast reveal or something. I know like sometimes the movie stuff will be presented separately, but then sometimes they have done movie stuff in major directs. So like, yeah, I don't know. It's Mario's anniversary. This seems like a good time as any to talk about the next Mario movie. So there's another thing that seems, I'm reasonably confident that we'll see. So that's another reason to get pretty excited. So moving on, like we said, I'm sure they're going to be talking about Switch 1 games, and that's mostly going to be like third-party ports, which is cool. Like, you know, you can never have too many games that you can play on the Nintendo Switch. I think there's a fine chance that we're going to see more on Rhythm Heaven and Tomodachi Life. I know that, earlier in the year they revealed them and gave them very vague 2026 release dates, which seemed weird. They seemed like kind of smaller to mid-sized projects. So like, why are you revealing them so early? But I think that means there's a pretty fine chance that we're going to get those earlier next year. They seem like the perfect little, like, I don't want to say stopgap, but like early in the year. You're like January, February release. You're between the holiday season and the spring and summer season. So you just got a little fun stuff peppered in there. I could see that. Yeah, like the games don't look like they're going to be the most massive games that you reveal and they come out like years and years later. They need so much dev time. So I think there's a really fine chance that we will get additional trailers for those two games, maybe even release dates for earlier in the year, which would be really awesome. Really, really cool. Is it possible that we will get reveals for more Switch 1 games? Definitely. It's definitely possible. I mean, it's such a huge install base, so like, why? And now that everything's backwards compatible, it's kind of like, why not? Why not throw bones to the exclusively Switch 1 playing crowd? Like, there's kind of no reason not to. I do just think that we have to expect that these are all going to be smaller budget games. They're not going to want to put a lot of money into a project that does not, doesn't act as an incentive to get a Switch 2. They do want us to transition to Switch 2. So yeah, things like Rhythm Heaven, Tomodachi Life, other really simple re-releases. I know like a Kirby Planet Robobot remaster has been rumored for a pretty long time now. That kind of thing seems absolutely likely, especially because it's Kirby. He gets 15 new games and products announced every single Nintendo Direct. So like, yeah, I think that's very possible. So, of course, we have to talk about all of the games that we know are coming this year, or at least have been told are coming this year. First, of course, I'm going to talk about Metroid Prime 4. If Metroid Prime 4 is coming out this year, it might not. We might get a release date for early next year. It might get delayed again. If it's coming this year, we're definitely getting a release date. Should never say definitely, but come on. It's basically definitely. I mean, the game has been getting rated in a whole bunch of different territories. That's when you know that you are actually close to release. Games have to be like a certain percentage done or something. I know it's different for each territory, and I don't know what all the rules are, but yeah, generally speaking, if it's getting a bunch of ratings, it's close to release. They're not gonna like shadow drop it because this is a major retail title that's gonna be like boxed physically in stores, and that's not the kind of thing they generally are just gonna randomly put out there. But it's gonna be soon. I think we're gonna get a release date. Probably gonna be for like November or something. It can kind of share the month with Kirby Air Riders. Or early next year. But if it is early next year, I think we'll get a date. If they delay it to like February something or other, 19, whatever, that's literally just a random number, they'll give us a date as well. I'm reasonably confident. Please, Nintendo, please, I'm done with this, please. And on that topic, obviously Metroid Prime 2 and 3 re-releases would be really nice. Even if they're not fully remastered, even if you're just up-resing it and giving them mouse controls, that would be nice, but I don't really see that happening this close to release. They ended up giving us Pikmin 1 and 2 before Pikmin 4, and that was great, but like it was a bit before. I don't know. I guess maybe it was really only. It was a good few months before. I don't know. It feels a little late for Metroid Prime 2 and 3. I don't know if Nintendo's going to do it, but now would be the time. It's kind of now or never. So yeah, it would be nice, but I'm not getting my hopes up. And then the last thing I'll say about Metroid is a free upgrade for Prime Remastered, at the very least, would be very, very, very nice. I really want to see that game running with better performance. It's already gorgeous. It's going to be so good. It's going to look so good. So that would be great. That would be another really nice little, throw us a bone. You made us wait this long for Prime 4. How about a free upgrade for Prime Remastered? So then we've got Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. It is possible that it will be delayed into next year. However, I think it's probably just as likely it won't, and it will come out this year, and this will be the direct where they give us a date. Definitely like a new trailer. I don't know how much more there is to like say about the game or whatever, but yeah, a new trailer with a date sometime this year, December, whatever. Makes sense. And of course, Pokemon, it's really hard to say. We could just end up getting another, like, whatever trailer, because the game comes out in, like, a month or something. So, like, I don't know. But then there's this idea, like, is there more that they've not been telling us? Is this a Tears of the Kingdom situation where there's still something about this city we're waiting for them to reveal, or a mechanic or something? If that's the case, then yeah, this would be a really good opportunity for them to give us, like, a really big, meaty trailer. At the same time, I could just as easily see them really just being like, no, you've basically seen what you need to see to, like, buy the game, so here's just another whatever trailer, maybe revealing another mega or something, and whatever, you'll be playing it in a month, so yeah, I don't know. Now, I think we're pretty much guaranteed to see more on Kirby Air Riders. It is clear that there are still some secrets, some weird little story or character thing that was teased at the end of the Direct. It seems likely that there is a mode that he has not shared yet. There was a mode in the original game that has not been represented here yet, so it could be that, or it could be something else. But probably something. You know, the game comes out in a couple months, so yeah, this is probably, you know, maybe they'll want to keep it secret for a while and then give us a bigger trailer before release, but I could easily see a pretty big Kirby Air Riders reveal here. And then we can't forget about Splatoon Raiders. I know that's a 2026 game. We do technically have a Switch 2 game for 2026, but we really don't know anything about it. We don't know the scope of the game. Is this a full retail title? Is this an eShop title? How spin-offy is this spin-off? We really don't know. But I am hoping, very much hoping, that we get more info during this Nintendo Direct, because I think I am not alone in desiring to know more about this mysterious game. I'm very curious, so I can't say it's a guarantee, unfortunately. This could be the kind of thing that they don't talk about until, like, February next year or something, but I would like it. Okay, so now we come to the main event. The real reason people click on videos like this, the real reason I make videos like this. We're gonna talk about big new reveals. We're gonna talk about potential big new reveals for next year. Again, we basically know nothing about next year except for, I guess, Splatoon Raiders, but again, we don't even know, like, what that game is. How big is that game? I have no idea. But obviously, they're gonna wanna give us at least, let's imagine that it's probably just gonna be one big reveal for a major Switch 2 release for next year. You started the year and the generation with a new 3D DK, a big, huge Mario Kart. Okay, so that's year one. What does year two look like? What is the first game that is going to define the second year, or, you know, the second half of the first year and the first half of the second year of the Switch 2's life? And this, I mean, this really is where I'm trying to hype responsibly, because they could reveal more than one. They just could. I know I shouldn't be, like, voicing these words, but, like, there have been September Directs where they reveal a bunch of stuff for the next year. So it's technically possible, but we're not going to do that. No, we're focusing on one. What's it going to be? There's going to be one major reveal. What's it going to be? Process of elimination, new DK, probably means no new 3D Mario. I know that's not an absolute guarantee, but I believe that that is probably the case. I think it's just a little bit too soon for 3D Mario. It's too soon for 3D Zelda. It's too soon for 2D Zelda. It's obviously too soon for 2D Mario, and I think we're going to get the Switch 2 edition, all that stuff. It's too soon for Splatoon, plus we're getting Splatoon Raiders. It is probably too soon for a 3D Kirby, because we just got Star-Crossed World. Probably gonna want to space that at least a little bit. It's too soon for Pikmin 5, and I also think we're gonna get a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition first, again, as I talked about in that video. If Sakurai is working on Smash, I think that that will be well after Kirby, spaced by at least a couple of years there. If he is not working on Smash, or if they've been working on it all this time, it is possible, but I also see a Switch, it had so much, like, DLC. I could see them doing a Switch 2 edition, having the game running at 120 frames and all that stuff. So I think it's very possible that we're gonna get a Switch 2 edition there. So yeah, Smash is technically possible, but I really don't know. I have here what I feel are two very, very good options, very likely options. The first is Luigi's Mansion 4. We are overdue for a new Luigi's Mansion. The last one sold very, very, very well, just absurdly well, so surprisingly well. And it's been long enough since the last one. It's been long enough since Mario Strikers. So, like, what has the company been working on? And it is a Mario thing. Luigi's Mansion 4 would be a Mario thing, which would be perfect for the anniversary. And if Luigi is featured more heavily in the next Mario movie, which I suspect he probably will be, I think pretty much everyone across the board wanted more Luigi, then it only makes sense to release a new Luigi's Mansion game that year. It just lines up. Next level games, whole like just production cycle, it lines up. The timing with the previous games lines up. It lines up with the anniversary. It lines up with the movie. So I think that one is very, very, very likely. And then my other pick is Animal Crossing. Luigi does make more sense for the anniversary, but my initial gut feeling was Animal Crossing. It just like, it seems like such a perfect year 2 game. And you know, both could happen. That's the thing. They could reveal Luigi's Mansion 4 here, and then we get a later reveal for Animal Crossing in like February or something. Like it is totally possible. But at the same time, they generally like to, I mean, they're going to want to hype the next Animal Crossing quite a lot. And they usually release those in like the spring and summer, which would mean that you would kind of have to reveal it now in September. So I really don't know. Yeah, I guess I really feel like either is a good pick for a game to be revealed, which is funny, and it would be especially funny if both were revealed, because that would make this direct just like the 2018, I think it was, the September 2018 Direct. That was also very early in the Switch's life, and in that Direct, they also revealed a new Luigi's Mansion and an Animal Crossing, so I would love it if that happened again. Beyond that, I feel like I have exhausted all of the options for like actual, like, cause I mean, that's the thing, like Nintendo's got a lot of IPs, a lot of series and stuff, but like only a select special elite few are big enough to be like those releases, like just like the bombshell announcements, the real system movers, the kind of games that get people being like, ooh, my wallet's itching. I'm gonna have to buy a Switch 2 next year. And yeah, just, I don't know, go in process of elimination. There's just not that many options. Unless Nintendo wants to surprise us with something that is somehow new enough that we could not predict it, while still being tied to an old IP or IPs that is just strong enough to carry this release, this kind of thing all by itself. I'm never gonna count out the idea of some sort of big, cool, like crossover game, kind of like Smash, but like something else, something bigger, more adventure-y. I mean, I certainly wouldn't complain. But barring that, I think it's pretty much Luigi's Mansion and Animal Crossing. I really do, or maybe Smash. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I got. We are very close to this Nintendo Direct happening. I'm very excited to watch it. I certainly hope that I will be streaming it. I mean, it's kind of a top priority, like this is like a couple of times a year Direct. It's the first one for the Switch too, so I'm reasonably confident that I will be there and I will be streaming it. So exciting. Very, 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 very exciting. So I hope to see you there, and I cannot wait to talk about the things that Nintendo reveals at this Nintendo Direct, and I hope that you are there to listen to the things that I say. Have a good day. Goodbye.